Who would be at fault if these vehicles had collided? Well, I can tell you that even though the Focus on the near side is in the wrong lane and going around the outer edge of the roundabout, it would most likely be settled on a 50-50 split liability basis. Before we get into the liability though, if you enjoy my liability reviews, make sure to hit the follow button. So this is the liability outcome that I often discuss that always seems to go down as one of the most controversial ones, even though this is something that I know that most driving instructors will drum into their pupils when they're learning to drive. Mine certainly did. My driving instructor said that you should never assume that somebody is in the correct lane on a roundabout because they could be unfamiliar with their lanes, unfamiliar with the area. They could be one of the road users that are allowed to use the outer edge of the roundabout regardless of the markings, or they could have entered from an intermediate entrance and become established in that lane. This is why if you're exiting the roundabout from the centre and there's a lane to the left, you have to check if it's safe and clear to be able to exit, and if it isn't, you shouldn't. This was solidified by a precedent-setting case law by the name of Grace and Tanner, which was eventually settled at the second highest court possible, the Court of Appeal, and it was decided that both road users were responsible. The one using the outer edge of the roundabout incorrectly was responsible for being in the wrong lane, and the vehicle exiting from the centre was responsible for not checking it was safe and clear to move over to exit the roundabout. So if these vehicles had collided and both drivers disputed who was at fault, it was likely that it would be settled on a 50-50 split liability basis. Lovely jubbly, sound as a pound.